Hi everyone, it's Victor speaking, and today we will be exploring the fourth part of 2022. So as I mentioned in previous videos, it is an intense analysis of 2022. So I made part one when I was speaking about the Neptune and Jupiter conjunction in the sign of Pisces, especially. In the next video, I spoke about Jupiter in Aries and in conjunction to Chiron, as well as in the third part of the video, I spoke about the Uranus and North Node and the nodal shifts and what we should be expecting from that. And the fourth very important astrological event of 2022 is Mars retrograde in the sign of Gemini. Now, one of the reasons why it's very important for us is because Mars, when it goes retrograde, it tends to be spending about 6 months in one sign. And of course, it's going to be coloring the year. This time around, it will be triggering your Gemini house cusp. So I would like you to look at where Gemini is in your chart and basically make sure that you try to apply the information to that house cusp. For instance, in my case, it's going to be happening in the fourth house, which is related to home environment, as well as inner insecurities and inner securities. That's something to do with your safety net and overall the family also. Furthermore, I would like you to look at also what Mars rules in your natal chart. Typically it rules two houses, which is Aries and Scorpio from a traditional perspective. And additionally, I would like you to look at where the Scorpio house cusp is especially. Now, one of the reasons why, because actually once Mars goes retrograde, at the very same time, Mercury will be entering the sign of Scorpio. So therefore, there will be a mutual reception between those two planets. And one way you can work with mutual receptions is that you imagine that the planets are kind of like an agent. So they merge generic attributes. So when they are in mutual reception, somehow two houses of your life need to be working simultaneously. So for instance, Scorpio cusp is my ninth and the Gemini cusp is the fourth. So with the fourth and the ninth house energies, how am I going to be merging the two energies together? And mutual reception is something which is actually like a supportive aspect, really. It's like the two planets are in conjunction, but typically it works extremely well when those two planets also have got an aspect going on too, okay? So we will be exploring this video in the next probably 1 hour. We're going to be going down a little bit on the memory lane as well, and we're going to be looking at previous retrograde phases in the sign of Gemini from Mars. And we're going to try to break it down, what we should be expecting on a personal level and a little bit on a collective level as well. Now, before we jump right into it, if you are interested in learning astrology with me, then I would like you to check out my membership zone on AstroViktor.com, because I'm offering free lectures, workshops a month, and it's about £39. So basically one lecture is about £13 per person, and you've got another extra bonuses you will receive with that, such as weekly videos only available for the Patreons, as well as some discounts with readings. So this is very much about people who are very savvy about astrology and they want to build their knowledge, but there are different type of memberships available also. So Mars retrograde in Gemini. So typically this is about an intellectual and mental activity, what we want to be considering here. Health issues may be also a factor, because Gemini is something to do with the lungs, but also we can be experiencing accidents, when Mars goes retrograde. Now, I went back a little bit in time, so I did a little bit of a research, looking at where we had some Mars retrograde in Gemini. So we had one in 1928, we had in 1943, and actually the 1943 was something where Mars was had a complete journey in Gemini, meaning that it went retrograde in the sign of Gemini, and then it finished its retrograde period also in the sign of Gemini. We had in 1958, then we had in 1975, 1990, and the very last one which happened was in 2007. But that time around, Mars actually began its retrograde cycle in Cancer on 12 degrees and then returned to Gemini, and then continued its transit of Gemini for the remainder of the retrograde period until 2008, January 30th, when he turned direct on 24 degrees. So we're going to be looking at actually the 2007 and maybe the 1990 and also the 1975 as well, what type of energies we had around that time. Now, Mars, the very next time when it's going to be retrograde in the sign of Gemini is going to be 2037. So you can see it doesn't happen every single day. So therefore, Mars retrograde period will be actually an important one for us. So Mars will enter the sign of Gemini on the 20th of August. And then on October 30th, 2022, Mars turns retrograde at around 9:25 a.m. And it will be at the position of 25 degree Gemini, 37 minutes. And Mars will be retrograde till January 12th, 2023, when it turns direct on 8 degrees of Gemini. So basically, Mars will be retrograde from 30th of October till January 12th, 2023. Now, you can see that it's going to be there for about 6 months because it's starting the journey around August. And by the time it finishes Gemini, it's going to be sometimes in February. Now, in the birth chart, Mars reflects our personal will. And the sign in which Mars is situated gives us information about how your personal will is expressed. So, for instance, looking at it, in Aries, it will be very direct, very spontaneous. It will do things assertively. In Taurus, it's going to be, you know, some type of reflection happening, or it's going to be a little bit of a slower energy. And in Gemini, it is verbal and mental. Or if we look at, for instance, how Libra's personal will is, that's kind of like giving the option to others to make a decision. Or Scorpio is going to be very passionate, or Sagittarius will do things in an enthusiastic way, or Capricorn is very disciplined. Pisces is going to sacrifice things. It's going to give in eventually, and so forth. So your personal will, that's one of the biggest meaning of Mars. So how will it play out in the sign of Gemini? That there is going to be some loads of mental approach to things. So we're going to be looking at things as in how to put myself first forward. So it's going to be in a verbal way. Psychologically speaking, actually, Mars represents the hero within you. So this is a hero who is going to speak up. This is a hero who is going to be kind of mentally poking you in a sense. Mars is the initiator. He always goes after things what he wants, and he's going to go after information this time around. Mars always wants to win. So it wants to be winning, kind of like a election type of things. Because Gemini could be talking about things like voting and and all those type of things. But it's about, let's say, writing a letter. So I want to be willing, and I'm just going to keep writing a letter to different type of authorities. So, and then if you start thinking about what is a hero's responsibility, it is about protecting and serving others. So that's the higher manifestation of Mars. It wants to empower. And it will empower with words. So it's going to be, you know, posting on social media about certain type of things, such as, you know, you should not be accepting certain things, you should do this and that. So it's going to be mentally stimulating energy. Of course, Mars at the beginning of his journey is not really interested in serving and protecting others, because he is a lot more into himself. So Mars, from a natal chart point of view, it kind of wants to climb the hierarchy ladder. It knows that it was born to become a leader, right? No matter what. Mars gets out of bed every single day to become a Capricorn, because that's its exalted position, so to achieve something. But eventually, Mars should realize, no matter what, that in that area of life, I do need to be serving and protecting others as well. So, and the way how you should do that, for instance, in Gemini way. So look at the house position, please, and then check what area of life it is falling into, because it might be falling into fourth house, which is about, yeah, I'm going to be protecting my home, or I'm going to be serving my home, or it might be, you know, seventh house, and I'm going to be protecting my partner, or I'm going to be collaborating with someone. So Mars represents your instincts overall. It wants to become actually the authentic self. It is the planet of drive to action, the drive to excel, the drive for purpose. And this time around, you know what? It is okay, because Gemini is a masculine sign, and Mars at the end of the day is a masculine planet. So it's a lot more straightforward. It's more about the external manifestation at all. Mars will represent the masculine side of yours, no matter whether you are a female or a male. So we initiate things. Mars has got two sides. As I said, it rules Aries and Scorpio. So the Scorpio side is more of the revenge and more deeply emotional. It's kind of like the intense. It's like the hero's feminine side. And it's about battles with death, passing through some type of dark times, so that it can become that pioneering figure he should become. So the reason why it's going to be important for us is because, as I mentioned, Mars will be having a mutual reception with Mercury in the sign of Scorpio, and Mercury will be entering the sign on the very same day. So therefore, it is kind of telling me that it's fighting till the end type of situation. Okay, Mars face to the sun, for instance, we are born into, shows us the journey we are on as a hero. So it also gives you a little bit of a clue of what type of energy we possess, kind of. So on the day when Mars goes retrograde, Sun also will be in the sign of Scorpio, right? So actually, it means that we are talking about kind of an opposition phase. So Scorpionic and Gemini things will be kind of like coming to light. So the death ratio, or something to do with fighting for the justice in a sense, or just some type of data, as in Gemini, because Mars in Gemini is actually fighting to collect the data. It wants more and more information. So, and with Scorpio, it can be about drugs. It can be about things like obsessions and relationship matters. And all these type of things seem to me that it's going to be coming to light in one way or another. So the Mars journey is always about leaving the princess behind and return once gained enough experience. Basically, a boy becomes a man. So because it's an opposition phase this time around, meaning that Mars has left as far as it's possible Therefore, Mars is kind of wondering whether I should return to that princess. But of course, things have changed significantly. So I think this Mars can also indicate that some of the situation is going to start getting back to normal. That's also one way, actually, how I see that. Because believe it or not, Mars played a significant role, actually, in the COVID chart. Now, I'm not going to go into that more in depth, but yeah, it will. Now, also, it's worth having a look at, okay, what was going on in your life sometimes around 3rd of March till 23rd of April this year. Because actually Mars was already in the sign of Gemini, and it made a conjunction to North Node. Right now, let me point out that Mars going retrograde in the sign of Gemini, it's going to trigger that point where it met North Node. And that was actually between 17th of March till 7th of April when we could have felt it mostly. But the exact conjunction between them two happened around 27th, 28th of March. So you might want to be just considering what was happening around that time, because actually this Mars can bring an endings to that situation, but most probably from 2023 February onwards. Okay, so Mars will be actually making a couple of trines to Aquarius planets also, meaning Saturn. So definitely, it is about calling for communication. The freedom is very much emphasized here. Aquarius rules people. So it looks to me that we are somehow forced to kind of communicate with others. Well, this time around, it's a trine. So it's actually probably helping people to communicate with each other. Now, let me again point out something else, because I think one of the most important phases will be around this time when actually Moon will be in the sign of Gemini. So actually on the 20th of August, when Mars enters Gemini, Moon will be there. So whatever you see around 20th of August, 2022, you should be expecting that coming back in October and then eventually January, February for you too. But I'm going to be looking at the aspects Mars will make on those charts. Now, you know, it's, as I mentioned before, it's always worth having a look at what was going on in the history. So in 2007, December, that's when Mars retrograde was basically like blooming in a sense. So actually on that month, Putin's party dominated parliamentary elections. So this could actually bring up some election matters in some of the countries. Also, intelligence report concludes Iran has halted weapons program. So, of course, this is very Mars in Gemini, because Gemini is report and Mars is all about weapons. But also around that time, CIA destroyed interrogation tapes. And this was actually already speculated back in 2005 as well. Remember that 2 years before, Mars was in the sign of Gemini also, okay? Also, the car bombs explode in Algiers, which was just 60 people are, I mean, not just, sorry, 60 people actually are killed. And it was actually a suicide attack. Car belongs to Gemini. And Mars always explodes things. So that's actually possible. Then also a city in southern Iraq hit by bombs. And that was one of the worst violence in a month. And actually nearly 30 people were killed and 150 people were wounded. And there on the very same day, there were some car bombs going on as well. So that's again somehow Mars in Gemini, because Gemini rules towns and cities. And of course, Mars can represent the guns. Then the European Union voted to adopt new treaty. And actually, it was ratified by 27 members. And it lasted about a 6-month term, actually. So 6 months, as in Mars retrograde periods. Turkey actually attacked Kurdish targets in Iraq. So, and it was with the help of military. Again, very Mars energy. So we can expect some dispute, especially verbal dispute, but unfortunately, sometimes this could lead to physical ways as well. Now, Gemini rules technical advancements. So with Mars, which is the planet of kind of like engineering, on a very positive note, it definitely brings some kind of like producing new technological type of things. So it's very possible that we see some stuff like that. From a technical terms, though, you know, Mars is in the sign of detriment in Taurus, and then it goes into a neutral area. So, you know, Mars is not necessarily that frustrated here. Gemini is an air sign, so Mars loves being quick. So there is some strength here, though, but it could talk about also some restrained emotional blockages, which Mars need to still come, you know, overcome in a sense. So you might feel the urge to communicate a lot more, or reaching out for information, or for instance, to get a book you badly have wanted before. There is this flexible quality to Mars this time around. And actually, this can become a little bit scattered as well. So we do need to be paying attention to that. But I think people might become a lot more adaptive and accommodating. This Mars might feel that I'm going to be doing plenty of things at the same time. And Mars always prompts us to take some type of actions. So the Gemini area in your life can be full of action in that next 6 months, kind of. You might want to be initiating something in August, but then it slows down a little bit, and then you can actually restart the engine sometimes in 2023. So Mars is a planet which is, from an astrological perspective, it is looked at as a personal planet, but from an astronomical perspective, actually it's a superior planet. So it relates a lot to society. And what could happen here is that people can go from 0 to 100 very quickly. So the information flowing fast, coming in from many type of directions, and actually we have no idea which way to go. So that's why we can become scattered, and we can also become quite confused about things too. And that confusion is playing a significant role, actually, because Mars will be squaring Neptune. So the mixed messages are really much in the picture, unfortunately, with this aspect. So Gemini is all about our thought patterns and how we process information, kind of like it talks about our rational mind and what's going on in our mind. So it can actually stimulate your ideas, business ideas, quite a lot. So I can imagine things like, you know what, here is a little bit of a voucher, go and do some type of shopping. Or, you know, so somehow they might try to prompt you to spend some type of money. Of course, Gemini is about social media as well. So we're going to see plenty of fights on social media, surely. But we're also going to be seeing some type of social media protest article type of things. It might be something which go viral for bad or good reason. Doesn't really matter, but it goes viral because Gemini rules anything to do with newspapers. And so probably there is going to be political debates going on, social media debates. But Gemini also rules marketing, the PR segment of your chart as well. So Mars actually can boost the marketing side of your personality. So even if it's 8th house, how to market, how to do marketing in regards to my investments, right? Or when it comes to the 7th house, how can I do some type of marketing to get a boyfriend or a girlfriend? Well, definitely, you know, Mars highlights and activates the realm of information, language, and logic significantly. You know, you know, from a work perspective, you know, Mars in the sign of Gemini, it always wants to talk up. And sometimes it talks way too much and it becomes straightforward. So Mars in Gemini is kind of like a sharp tongue. So that 6 months, we really need to be watching out what we say to who. So from a work perspective, if it triggers your 10th house, you know, maybe the workflow is very quick pace, snappy. It can become quite detail orientated, too many errands to run, too many little tasks, and it could show a very busy time. It's like Mars is in iron, so I'm kind of having 2 different irons in the fire. So it's requiring you to multitask and to be very flexible. And then it can become an overburden eventually. But also it could be a great time to study, to learn, to explore new ideas. It might be that you started some type of studies this year in March, or even 2 years before, so sometimes in 2019-20, and then you want to go back and then you want to finish off your studies. That's actually very possible also. Gemini is kind of, you know, a relatable sign. So meaning that it wants to connect. It's kind of like a social butterfly. So therefore, from a relationship perspective, you know, it could show some type of changes in the relationship, or it can become a little bit unsettled. Your impulses may take you in a number of directions in regards to your relationship. So it's very easy to hurt someone's feelings, but it's also very easy to start a chat-up line, for instance, with someone. But it kind of tells you that you're going to have to learn a little bit to settle your mind. Your mind can be very fragile, but sharp as well at the same time. Now, Gemini does talk about the nervous system. So it could actually indicate some high-strung nervous system. Gemini Mars altogether is one of the depression indication, kind of like a little bit of an ADHD type of energy. So when you feel restless and then you need to be moving around, so it might be a smart idea to start some type of sport activities. Mars is the planet of inflammation. Gemini is the hands, the arms, the shoulders, the lungs. So anything to do with asthma or nerve conditions could be in a little bit of a danger, especially if you have got the Gemini cusp starting in the 6th and the 12th house energies. So I would say that just watch out for the stressful days when Moon is also in the sign of Gemini around that time, because that could be a little bit problematic, or even when Gemini is actually in the sign of when Moon is in the sign of Sagittarius as well. Okay, so as I said, there is this sharp tone quality with this, so it's very easy to hurt others by words, or what you say gets you in trouble. Actually, you might just want to be joking with someone, and that causes some type of trouble for you. So just watch out. Gemini rules over gossips and rumors. So, and that could be very confusing, especially with that Neptune square, what you see actually from Mars to Neptune. And of course, Mars is coming back to Neptune. So we do need to be aware of that. Gemini also rules business transactions. So you definitely want to be paying attention not to get involved in frauds and some type of schemes, because probably these people will be around. Now, As I mentioned, Mars will be trining Saturn as well 3 times. So now when Mars goes retrograde, it's going to be on 25 degree actually. So looking at that, that's going to be Aquarian decan. So therefore, the Aquarius quality to this Mars is very important, and it's already having a trine to Saturn. But in about a month later, when that trine exactly happens, so meaning that Mars is definitely fighting for equality, definitely fighting for freedom in a sense, but doing that by kind of like words and stuff like that. So Aquarius is very much about censorship. So it might become a hot topic with Mars being on Aquarius decan, right? So can I speak freely, speaking as in Gemini, Aquarius freely or not? This might become actually a topic. So something to do with probably some type of social media act, I can imagine coming in and so forth. Now, Gemini is a very diverse sign. So it's not necessarily about commitment. It's quick to move from one thing to another. And therefore, you might want to be starting project in August, and then you kind of leave that behind. And then you return to that between October and February. So that's very possible. Gemini is the brain. So, and from a sexual perspective, your greatest erogenous zone can become your brain. So you might just want a lot more mental stimulation from your partner, or somehow the conversation, so that the dirty talk becomes the biggest turn on, while Merc actually tracks through this sign. You know, what you can do as a remedy is, for instance, jogging around or running around, or actually you can be building a website, or you can start spreading your words about your desire, or you can start building your social media channel. Gemini is the sign of curiosity. So on Aquarian decan, people might become a lot more curious to listen, to read, to get involved with other people. So that's also very possible. The mind around this time is actually buzzing. Now, looking at the aspects Mars is making on that day. So Mars is on 25 degrees. So actually it's going to be squaring Neptune and Jupiter conjunction. Now, I've spoken about Neptune and Jupiter conjunction in one of the videos. I think that was part 1. So I don't wish to speak about that significantly. But why Jupiter is interesting is because Jupiter is just entered the sign of Pisces. So I'm just wondering, in August, we see some great days and things are getting better. And then from October, November onwards, somehow the hell gets loose. So it might be again some inflammation and lung-related matters, which we might or should expect around that time. That's actually the major significant aspect Mars will be making a square to Jupiter and Neptune. Another aspect Mars will be actually making on the very same day is a sextile to Aries at a asteroid. So Mars in Gemini, which is the intellect, the will, the playful self-realization. And Aries in Greek myth, Aries was the goddess of strife and discord. And she helped Mars to create conflict upon which full-blown war could be built. Now, the sextile is something to do with Venusian energies, so it's a little bit of a playful aspect, but it is about, it could actually talk about that you stand up for something, or you're retraining your right to fight. but it can also bring unexpected victories or just a simple energy swirl you never knew was in there. So something which might be well hidden in your psyche. So that's actually, on one hand, it's kind of like a good aspect overall, but it could also imagine that kind of like a little bit of a female movement as well. So, you know, what you should be using this Mars in Gemini is learn about your Gemini house cusp. Maybe take some type of courses in regards to that matter. Second house, money courses. Second, fifth, eighth, 11th house could be about money courses. 8th, 9th, or 11th house could be about astrological courses. Or 4th, 12th, 8th house could talk about some type of karmic type of things. So, you know, now Gemini is a hot and wet energy, and Mars is a hot and dry. So definitely there is common ground there. But this combination altogether is the movement. So it could talk about how the travel restrictions will be playing out, especially with that Jupiter square, which just re-entered the sign of Pisces around that time. So actually it could bring some type of movement in the world. And of course, it can lead to some type of strikes as well. Mars is the planet of sexual desire. So it's about wanting to, getting what we want. You might just get chatted up in the streets. In ancient astrology, Gemini was a very sexual energy, actually, like the sexual curiosity. It is very youthful. So it could talk about sex scandals as well, actually. Highly charged sexual energy in the air. By having the nodes also in Scorpio and Taurus, it's very possible. So probably some type of scandal around business transactions, sexual type of things, actually possible. Also, it's a very good period of time to get some of the administration tasks out of the way, because you might be in the mood for that. You can become enthusiastic about selling something or just trading. Watch out for fighting with siblings and neighbors. Use that energy to defend the local community. It could actually bring in polarities of opinions also, because Gemini is all about opinions. So, and when Mars is triggering that, I've got a different opinion, you've got a different opinion, and it can lead to kind of arguments. So Mars in Gemini does have the warrior spirit. It kind of wants to stand up for equality, justice, but probably in a localized environment though. So, you know, a huge question. A very strong Mars is not just about action, but it's about logic as well. The soldier cannot win the battle if there is no, you know, logic there or some type of strategy. So, you know, this Mars will use both logic and strategy and drive as well to get ahead. You know, probably it's very hard to switch off the mind while Mars is in the sign of Gemini. You might actually repeat your own truth. You might feel that people don't listen to you, or you just can't get any words in because everyone is talking about it. Shoplifting can be something which gets, you know, possible, or these robberies or car stealing, new ways of stealing a car, for instance, by using some technological type of things. So just watch out for that. You can easily pull your muscles. So again, watch out. From a remedy point of view, you know, Gemini is the small groups. Mars is exercise. So exercise in small groups, like spinning and biking and running and so forth. Or write out your frustration. Because you don't want your frustration to get stuck in the body. So put it on a piece of paper. Talk to a friend. Learn new skills. Think about entrepreneurship. That's also something you might want to be doing. So, guys, this is how I see the Mars retrograde. So I hope it helps you to get that implemented in your natal chart. See you very shortly, but this time around I will be coming with the personal horoscope. So meaning I'm gonna break all this information down for you according to your rising sign and your sun sign. So thank you everyone and see you soon. If you like the video, you know what to do. Like, subscription, and all those type of lovely things. Thanks everyone. Bye-bye.